The Roman traditional story says that about the middle of the 8th century, Rome was founded by a king, Romulus, and his younger twin brother, Remus. The story of Romulus and Remus, the two twins who are feared by their relative who thinks that they will grow up to displace him. He therefore orders their death when they're babies. Instead of killing the guards, set them into a little basket and put them down the river, so they washed up on the side of the Palatine Hill, suckled by a wolf, grow to maturity, and then indeed do displace the evil relative. That's a story which has a lot of folkloric motifs. But in addition, we have inscriptions. One of them is underneath the pavement of the Forum. It's in the area we call the Comitium, which is a meeting place just in front of the Senate House. And there's an inscription underneath. On that inscription there's a word which is almost certainly the word for king, rex. In the shadow of the Capitoline Hill, the Forum is really where the first political monuments of Rome can be found, right in an area that was also used for entertainment, for commerce, for law courts, for a whole range of things. The last kings are probably from Etruria, Tarquinius, and here we're on the Etruscan road, the Vicus Tuscus, and that matches with the interchange of Etruscan objects which we see all over Rome in the 6th century BC. Tarquinius Superbus is noted for his cruelty and his arrogance, and the end of kingship comes about because of his arrogance. He looks around to find the most virtuous woman in Rome. He lights upon Lucretia, he rapes her, she tells her husband, Brutus, kills herself, and Brutus then expels the king in an uprising. That Brutus is an ancestor of the subsequent Brutus who kills Julius Caesar, who was alleged to be acting like a king. In 509 BC, the Romans found the Republic, which lasts right the way through the next 500 years. This is still a fundamentally Mediterranean society which is led by wealth and power and elite privilege. But the principle of everybody having some kind of say does exist. On my right is a building that was built to commemorate where Julius Caesar was cremated. Julius Caesar, at the end of his life, was a permanent dictator. The difference between a permanent dictator and a king is so small that nobody could see it, and that's one of the reasons why he was killed. He's succeeded by his adoptive son Augustus, who's the first true emperor of Rome. From a king through 500 years of republic and back to kingship or monarchy is the story of Roman history. The Palatine Hill and the later palaces have all sorts of fantastic vistas across the city. So on one side, the Palatine is built up so the emperor has a fantastic view down into the Circus Maximus, the great games. And there are two sides to that. One, he gets to see the games, but two, the Roman population get to see him looking down and participating in this great festival of Roman holiday. And the Colosseum, interestingly enough, stands as a kind of public monument in an area which had been private. Nero's Golden House stretched from the hill right the way on the other side of the Colosseum, all the way across onto the Palatine. When Nero fell, the Flavian dynasty replaced that private palace with areas guided towards public entertainment, the Colosseum being the classic example of the great Roman arena in which the people come to see the games of Rome. Roman military expansion is bound up with political competition. Going off and conquering somewhere gives you the money which allows you to make the next step in your political career or to pay for the last step you made in your political career. But there are two ways in which the Romans expand. One is to expand by utter destruction. More frequently, they combine this with allowing the conquered peoples to become, in a sense, Roman. They make them part of the army. They make them allies. They extend rights to them, sometimes as far as extending citizenship rights. It makes the Roman cause everybody's cause. And in that way, as the Romans expand their territory and people become part of Rome, her allies guard the boundaries of Rome, which expand further and further. So there are two things going on in the dynamic of military imperialism. Firstly, the great common sense of expanding and bringing people in so that they help move this empire forward. And secondly, the competition that's at the absolute heart of Roman politics.